In the world of sex trafficking.
Oh no!
Don't traffic that!
And child trafficking and all things bad, the worst things in the world.
I hate traffic.
There is a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank God.
We got, how do you pronounce her name?
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine?
It's basically, if it's spelled like that, it's Ghislaine.
I've been saying Ghislaine.
But I think Ghislaine or something like that.
Ghislaine.
But I fucking finally heard it from her friend that said Ghislaine.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Her friend was on an interview and she said her name is Ghislaine, so Ghislaine.
Has like all news networks been saying it wrong this entire time?
I don't know why you'd be fucking spelling it like Ghislaine.
Ghislaine. Anyways, she is in custody now.
Good.
Arrested. And
Sicko.
the latest update I have is that she is
I can't let them see my identity.
still alive.
She killed herself.
Well,
She killed
that's
herself
the
with-
biggest worry. The biggest worry is that she'll suicide
By
or
gunshot to the
By other
head,
people.
back of the head.
whatever
20 shots.
happened with
Yeah.
Epstein. That they will have a sequel of that. And so now she is being placed into a prison, literally across the street from where Epstein's prison was, or like the facility.
So
where
they're
Epstein
back
was
at the
at.
scene of the crime.
She's in the same area, and she is now only allowed to wear paper clothing.
Oh, so she can't like choke
Get the
herself.
fuck out of here. We know she's not gonna kill herself. That's not what anyone's afraid about. We're afraid that someone's gonna fucking murder
But it also
her.
gives a good thing to be like,
She didn't kill herself,
she didn't
obviously.
curse. But yeah.
So her first hearing is in about 6 days.
July 14th.
Yeah.
What paper clothing hearing?
So that's gonna be, it's gonna be not, they're gonna tell her, that's when she says if she's guilty or not guilty, that's when they tell her the bail amount.
Oh, I see.
So
When is the
thing
time
scary
ever
is
that's
that
like, just say what you want to say, pour your heart out?
What?
For who?
Let us know the name.
Never.
Oh, then they don't need to kill her because she's not gonna say any names.
No. Okay,
Wait,
so
what?
that's not how it
It would
works.
be like, okay,
fucking
Trump,
Nadeem.
Obama, Hillary, who?
You just want her to spill the beans so that she could.
She's not gonna spill it that easily,
beans.
though.
I know, but it's already at this point. It's like they're about to kill you.
Yeah, but we don't know yet.
That's scary.
So, man, this goes so
But the thing is,
fucking
like,
crazy.
because the thing is, if she dies, then we just like, oh, another conspiracy theory. We don't know. She
But that's
killed
not how
herself.
the game is played.
I know that's not the game.
Because like, let's say there's 20
game
people.
sucks.
Exactly.
suck.
But if there's like 20 people, and if they're like, if you tell us 18, we'll change your fucking identity, put your witness protection. Like, there's just an entire different game that's played at a federal level.
If she dies, I don't think the American public will be okay. Like, that is fucking crazy. After Epstein, now her? No fucking way, dude. I think
Do you think the American people are that informed?
yeah, the regular news is reporting it. Fox is reporting it. Both sides, like
CNN's
CBS, CNN, yeah.
Until COVID 20 comes out,
Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
it's a giant game that's being played. It's crazy.
That's what I think she's
well, the
gonna
thing is, I'm seeing that mainstream media is actually pressing and asking actual questions that I've never saw before. So on Fox's end, they have Tucker Carlson, who's saying things. Well, he's a journalist, right? Yeah. He's like saying like he's pressuring the government, saying like, oh well, how are we gonna make sure that she doesn't die? Because we don't trust it. And then on the NBC side or whatever, they're scrutinizing and saying, is this jail good enough for her? Like, she should be moved to the federal prison, because right now she's like in Brooklyn or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, that's not a good enough prison, and they got a former prison ward, and then they interviewed him, and he was like, yeah, this prison that she's in, it has a history of sexual harassment, a person who was in charge of teaching sexual harassment and all this stuff was actually caught for raping prisoners.
Oh, fuck.
So it's like, this prison's fucked up and has a bad history. And then he was like, I was a ward for it. And then he's like, we need to get her out of there.
This is a prison that's like next to Rikers.
I don't know where it is exactly, but it's in Brooklyn. So that's that, man. But there's a whole lot of fucking shit about this case that I went down the rabbit hole. I finally had a lot of time to study it. And it's a lot of fucking information.
Enlightened.
The things that are just crazy though, but like going off that thing, it's like, so she's in another like 24/7 surveillance thing. Where it's like, okay, one, he committed suicide, but just that footage got deleted somehow?
Well, I think that one they could easily make an excuse for because Rikers is known to do that all the time.
Delete footage?
It would not like shit would go out. They wouldn't have security guards
Power
enough
outages,
to watch everything.
Yeah.
So half the time, half the prison they don't have a security guard where they're supposed to be. So it's like it's a trend that's been like that for the past like.
Well,
30
yeah,
years.
we don't really know with Ghislaine, right?
So they put her somewhere that
we-
doesn't have that trend.
Yeah.
we don't know where this is gonna go yet, right? So there's a few ways that it can go. For one, it's like people were pressuring the FBI to get her, but it's like that's not how it works. If you get her, you blow the case. If you get her without any evidence or any case that's substantial that you could charge her on anything, you can't. It's like you're actually gonna blow everything on if you just grab Epstein and then you grab her. What I'm assuming is when they grabbed Epstein, they had enough stuff, but they had Ghislaine back then. I think that they already had him.
And the FBI works different from cops. So like regular cops, you arrest the person, then you build a case against them through investigation. FBI, they almost checkmate your ass. So that's why they have like the whole RICO thing with like the mafia. They have everything where you pretty much have 0 outs before they come in. So it's like, it's a way different process.
Well, I feel like the cops worked out. So we had a friend when we were young pass away, unfortunately, but they didn't arrest the people that we even knew did it, right? And then even one of the guys that did it, sister that we knew helped plan it, still went to the school, right, for 2 years, right? And then they graduated, and then 2 years later they finally arrested it. But they were telling us like, if we tried, we didn't have enough evidence back then. They would have been set free. We couldn't do that again.
So that's why people were like putting pressure on the FBI. You got to get her. But here's one of the strongest theories that I kind of think what might have happened is like, let's say after the whole Epstein killed himself, whatever, right? They had to build a second case. Everyone knew Ghislaine. It's easier to let her move freely because then you could run a tap on her. See who she talks to. See when she freaks out. See who she calls. Tap everything, right?
Why didn't they kill
build
her?
A case. Wait, just wait.
Yeah.
Build a case. You get all the people that's involved, and then what ends up happening is you've got an informant. So you don't build a case against her. You don't have you have an informant. So you don't build a case against her.
Like a rat.
What you really want to do is figure out who's the power that put them in that position.
Yeah.
Who's funding them? There's many questions, right?
So you're saying Epstein isn't the head honcho?
No, I don't think-
There's someone more powerful.
Because you want to take down the
No.
network.
Well, because
Yeah.
I feel like from the documentaries and stuff, they were using him to do the stuff.
So number one, the reason why I don't think he's the man in power is because he has wealth out of nowhere and no one can confirm.
So someone just gave it to him.
Yeah. So number one, he's supposed to be a hedge fund manager, right? And if he's a supposed billionaire, nobody in that community knows him and has dealt with him in that manner. So what I mean by that is there's a guy who is in that world and he came out and he's like, yeah, I dealt with them. I delivered paper to his like office. It's called, I forgot the name of it, but there was where he leased his office there. That's where his business is. And then he's like, there's a few things that we should be asking, which is one, if this business has been going on for how long, where's the tax returns? Where's the transactions? If this guy's some hedge fund manager, like who's the investors that fucking put money into this thing? This guy, he's like, honestly, he's like, in this game, you have 8-figure guys, you have 9-figure guys, you have 11-figure guys, right? So he's like, all these guys, he goes, they act differently. So it's like middle class, low class, upper class. Within millionaires and billionaires, he's like, this guy, he's like, he was kind of like Great Gatsby, right? So he's like, there's no way, he's so low class and he acts so weird, but he's like acting, but he has $1 billion
Right.
and no one does business with them.
He acts like new money. He acts like he's never had money before.
Yeah, he's like, he's shady, he's weird, he's like, he doesn't carry himself like a real billionaire. So he's like, first of all, where's the tax returns? Where's it coming from? Another thing is, so he had supposed ties to CIA, Mossad, which is Israel's CIA version, all this stuff. And they're like, if the intelligence agencies knew about this guy, did they allow the sex ring to keep going? Because that's a very important point to kind of see is that in 2008, he was alleged, or I think he wasn't, he wasn't guilty, but he was alleged.
He was under the
For child prostitution or whatever, right? Where he had sex with a minor or minor prostitute or whatever.
through the system.
Yeah, so in 2008, he got caught for that shit, but then people still kept hanging out with them and just immune. And West Palm Beach did a thorough investigation and they brought out a case of over 200 people that were victims. And
People, not even just girls.
I think there were women and girls or whatever, but there's 200 people that were a victim of his child sex ring. Most of them minors, under the age of 18, right? So like, they had a fucking case, but something very powerful shut it down. So they did a really thorough investigation, and then during the time from that point on, there was a prosecutor within the FBI that she took this case and secretly worked on it because she didn't trust everybody in the FBI. And this is why we're getting the Epstein now. It's because
dope.
that lady worked on that shit and then she fucking uncovered it.
What shut it down in the first place? Do you know?
No, he doesn't.
No. The judge ruled not guilty, all that stuff.
With the 200 girls.
Yeah, that's why he was proven innocent, all this stuff. So that's what got him clear and free, right? So I guess whoever caught it in the FBI, she didn't think that this was clear and that he was gonna trip up. So she kept going with the case. They had enough evidence against him. They apprehended him, 2018 or 19 or whatever. They got him. And then for Ghislaine too, we don't know. But those are the questions that no one's really asking. No one knows too much about it. But here it goes even further, right? So these aren't conspiracies. These are confirmed. What I realized is her father, Robert Maxwell or something like that, he was a media mogul in the UK. So he had like a publishing company, like magazines and all this stuff, right? And they had a huge fortune. He's a supposed alleged Mossad agent, and I think it's pretty confirmed. So Mossad is, like I said, they're KGB or they're CIA, right? And then he had mad fucking money, and one day he gets murdered or suicide.
Oh, jeez.
But Ghislaine claims that it was a murder. Like, she kept saying that it's a murder.
How long ago was this?
Oh man, I don't know, like the 80s or 90s, but it's a long time ago. And then so here's the weird thing is like him and Epstein were friends, right? And then after he dies, now Ghislaine, she's tight with Epstein. The theory behind it is Ghislaine is actually a agent for Israel, Mossad, and then she's working as his handler, meaning each agent basically has people that they have under him. Because the reason why this whole sex trafficking thing was happening, one of the biggest theories is you get high profile people to have sex with underage girls. There's cameras rigged all over the island, all over the apartments, right? You get dirt on these guys. And this is a common tactic that's done in the mafia, in the Yakuza, in high profile, like the way that you get Sony executives and
Well, that's what
Toyota
America
executives.
did to that. Was it the Indonesian guy that was sleeping with?
Honeypot, yeah. It's called Operation Honeypot, but they did this with hookers all the time. But
I like that it's an old tactic, but men just can't resist. They're like, I gotta get laid.
there was this guy named like Ellie Combs or some shit who was like this international playboy, and he built like this sex party mansion out in Syria or something, and then he would get all these Middle Eastern guys involved, and then same thing, tape them, blackmail them, right? So in this case, same thing, but they're just saying that the Pedo Island, Lolita Express, all these stuff, it goes so fucking deep to all of the world leaders and celebrities that no one really wants this to come out. Because if you think about it, Clinton was caught with 26 flights and visits with Epstein. Trump was caught with them. I mean, there's pictures with him and Melania and all that. Man, there's just so many high-profile people.
And it's not just American
No,
politicians
Prince
and
Andrew.
celebrities. It's okay. Fuck. So it's like the whole world is kind of like not trying to say shit right
And she
now.
played a huge role because she was the recruiter. And the women that are coming out and speaking up against this, there was one woman who was basically, her life was ruined because she was a art student at Harvard, struggling art student. They got her for her talents to like, you know, dress up the apartment, and they paid her, and then they also kind of like Epstein and Ghislaine had a threesome with her and all this shit. And then she would be in the car, and then Ghislaine would be like, wait. She would run outside, grab up the girl or grab a girl's number, run back in, and she'll be like, it's so weird. She's recruiting models, but I never met a model with braces, because it's like weird, right?
Yeah.
So she didn't really think until later, where she got sexually like kind of like harassed or what do you call it, molested or whatever, groped or fucked. Yeah. And then she has a little sister, and she's like, oh my god, I brought my sister into this mix. And I don't know if her sister
damn.
was a target or what happened, but something happened, and then it kind of ruined their relationship. And then so she was gonna oust Ghislaine, and she was talking to the police. All this shit was happening, and then they were like fucking up her life. And then so like now she resurfaced back up when the girls came together and they're fighting.
Yeah.
It's just
Strength in numbers.
yeah, dude, it's some fucked up shit, man. It's crazy, dude. There's just so much information that I can't really do it all in like
There's
20
some like
minutes.
photos like where it's like this girl was missing or like she died and it was like a super young girl, and then like in the background of the photo you can see Ghislaine.
Yup.
And you're like, oh, okay, now like the family's like not understanding who that lady was, and like they're trying to reopen the investigation and stuff. They're like, yeah, our daughter, we thought she died, she disappeared, got kidnapped. And like the last in like the family photos, they have like Ghislaine's in the back of them.
Wasn't one of Ghislaine's homies just killed themselves too?
Really?
Yeah, I forgot his name, but he's linked with the Epstein crew and Ghislaine. I forgot his name, but he just killed himself too. He fell from like a 27-story
Oh,
building.
he killed himself. He jumped out.
Yeah, he
It's
jumped
what
out
it's
of a
reported.
27.
He's Clinton's friend too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about
Everyone
that,
that knows the Clintons died.
Well, that's why there's a hashtag Clinton body count, because
It's like 57
Yeah.
people that worked under them that
Fucking crazy,
have died
man.
from suspicious ways.
Damn.
it's fucking nuts, man. But I hope that they really uncover some shit and they don't let this one go.
Yeah,
What happened?
Like no suicide with her. I don't want no one killing her, because I think if she dies, it's like we don't really get that justice that we're looking for. We don't really get to the bottom of the
If you
story.
have that many world leaders, though, it's probably gonna be
You're
like
never
that.
gonna
It's
get
just
it.
they're just gonna put it out like a
I
cigarette.
know. What I think might happen is that she's going to maybe call out some small people or like some enemies and
And
then
it'll
call
just
it a
fizzle
day.
out.
Yeah, she's gonna get a deal. And
But
like,
why would they let her live though? She's too
We
much
will
of
get
a
more people.
yeah. She's too much of a liability now. Why would I'd be surprised
she might die
if she
after
lives.
the case.
Yeah.
I feel like because she's probably gonna fall into depression and she's gonna
Well, she got
OD.
corona.
Right.
It's fucking
Crazy.
nuts,
I hate
man.
this.
We'll keep you updated as we learn more.
Yeah.